Hey guys, what's up? I'm Dustin. Welcome to Horror Movie Rewind. Just got back from seeing Good Boy. Initially planned on doing just a basic review, but actually during the film and then especially on the way home when I had time to digest it and kind of put two and two together, I'll be doggone. I found something I thought was lame. More important. Gonna tell you right now why I absolutely believe this movie exists in the Insidious universe. Not only it exists in it, I think it might have a argument to be a prequel, possibly. We'll get to that part at the end, but in the meantime, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I'm almost positive of that. Now, I did not take the time to look up any kind of like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon between the producer, the writer. Yeah, and I know that they're like that guy. I can't remember his name. He wears many hats in the production of this movie. But anyways, I don't know if there's a connection with Lee Wannell or anybody else. But if it's not, then somebody probably will receive a lawsuit. Let's put it that way. So I'm going to tell you why I think that it is. And we'll start with the probably most superficial and obvious. And I'm speaking very specifically about Insidious 3. Probably my not least favorite, but yeah, towards the bottom in that franchise, you get away from the family that we have met in the first 2. And yeah, Dermot Mulroney is one of the sweetest people I've ever met in real life. So it gets an extra like point for him being the father. But nevertheless, Brandon, you have Elise's character kind of taking center stage in this one, almost like she does in, I think, 4 or 5. But, she has a dog named Warren. I think it's a golden retriever. And he plays not a pivotal role, but there's a definite nod and a necessity, or like his sensory abilities as a canine are definitely utilized a couple of times.
Fine. I'll help her. But you're staying here.
In Insidious 3. So obviously, Good Boy is directly from the perspective of, I should know the name of the breed of the dog. That dog needs to win an award, by the way. I know they say it took like 4 years and 300 days to film that because it was a dog. But like I would have thought it was CGI or AI or something nice. Actually, it's the producer, director, writer, whatever the hell he is. It's his actual dog, Indy. But nevertheless, so yeah, you got the 2 dogs in the films. And yeah, I mean, if that was all I had, then I wouldn't be filming this now. Now, the one thing that stuck out to me first in the theater earlier was something that's, I'm not saying other films haven't done it, but it's pretty exclusive in my memory and in my mind to Insidious. And it's the tar footprints of the demons. Again, specifically Insidious 3. You have Elise following this trail of tar footprints into a basement. Again, another common theme. Well, that's in a lot of movies. But yeah, so the tar footprints, I'll show you the Insidious 3 clip now. Yeah, so basically, that shouldn't be like breaking news to anyone. And I do think that they may use that in a couple of the other Insidious films. I'm not 100%. Again, I just got home. I didn't go back. I'm not a fact checker. If I'm wrong, just tell me about it in the comments. But I know that it happens in this film. And so it's relative to what I'm speaking on now. But yeah, so you have that scene and you have essentially identical, I think at least twice, like, characters following or noticing a path of footprints that are tar. And yeah, I mean, maybe that's a thing that's in a lot of movies. I doubt it because I've seen a lot of horror movies. I'm not going to say it's exclusive to these 2. But anyhow, yeah, there's that. And I can't show you a clip from Good Boy. I don't have it. Again, I just seen it in theaters. But if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And they don't just, it's not a like flash in a pan, like blinking, you'll miss it thing. They definitely show it at least twice. So it's meant to be noticed, right? And there was a thing. The film itself, Good Boy, again, it's real ambiguous. I'm not going to call it open-ended. I think maybe it's setting itself up for some kind of sequel, or maybe it's exactly what I'm telling you that it is. But you have your main, if you main protagonist is Indy the dog, but like his owner Todd. Again, you find him at the beginning of the movie, a little cold opening. He's in trouble. We don't know why. And then you like have his sister like kind of filming on her phone of him getting out of the hospital and like reconnected with his dog, but you never find out what's wrong with him. And then you have him going to, like you said, grandfather's, like, basically abandoned, like it's not a cabin, but house, like in the cut, in the woods somewhere. And again, you have like all these, well, not all of them. There's not very many characters, but the sister, a neighbor who we'll talk about later. But a few people are asking him why he would be there after his grandpa did what he did. So like, again, not taking making it light, but making light of it, but kind of got to like feel earlier that the grandpa maybe had committed suicide. But then you start watching Todd watch films of the grandfather when he's at the grandfather's house, and he's sitting in a chair and basically hacking, coughing. Again, very similar like symptoms to what Todd briefly was like experiencing and will do throughout the film. But hacking, coughing. So whether it was cancer the grandfather suffered from, or tuberculosis, this was set in modern day, and I don't think the grandfather died like, half a century ago or even longer than that. Tuberculosis isn't very common, but like, we'll call it, it's probably like lung cancer, some kind of respiratory situation was going on with the grandpa, and you definitely find out that he passed away. You never find out how. They don't say he like succumbed to the disease. They don't say that he killed himself. There is just a like couple of mentions, and they almost make it sound like he did something bad. So suicide, I guess, would fill that void, but at the same time, it's really really vague. Maybe he did something else. I don't know. But so then Todd, the character who owns Indy, that we see throughout the film, starts getting more and more sick. And I don't really know the timeline of this movie, but I don't think it's any more than maybe 2 weeks. It doesn't give you day 1, day 7 kind of stuff. But the film itself is only an hour and 13 minutes long, which doesn't have anything to do with that, actually. I don't know why I said it. But you can't, really justify the length being any more than maybe 2 weeks. So, but he really starts to regress his health. He's, hawking up blood, coughing up blood. At times, it's almost like tar-like. And, it's pretty much 50% of his screen time is coughing or vomiting or coughing up blood. Well, again, you see these videos and you can correlate it to the grandfather, and then you start seeing, you see them from the beginning of the film before they even get there. But Indy the dog, our hero, he sees these shadow figures, and they're there the whole time. To the dog, Todd doesn't acknowledge them. I'm not going to say he doesn't see them until very late in the film. But again, it's not just like a silhouette. It's just tucked back enough in the scene. Sometimes it's out a car window when the dog's viewing them. Sometimes it's kind of in a corner, very Conjuring or Insidious like. And at times you can kind of see some features. They also they mess with you a little bit where you think that it's one of those, and it's at 2 times I could think of specifically, and it's, a neighbor, supposedly the guy I told you we get back to, or Todd himself. And I was talking to my wife, this movie does have a real, didn't realize I was watching it, but now thinking back at when I was building, my justification for this video, not sure, if everything was real or if there are some dream sequences that they don't make obvious. But, but so these shadow figures, they they definitely resemble some of the stuff you'll see in Insidious, or like I said, Conjuring. I know there's some ties between those two franchises, but definitely the tar prints were, that's kind of the smoking gun for me to start this. But then I remembered and realized something. In Insidious 3, the big bad, the main villain, main antagonist, is known as the man who can't breathe. And he coughs, hacks. He actually, the demon himself, spirit, apparition, whatever you would call it, is actually wearing like a breathing apparatus. Now, again, I just got home not long ago. I went back enough to film some scenes, and I'll show you right now. Yeah, so the wheezing in the coughing is identical to the symptoms that not only Todd, the dog's owner, displays, but also his grandfather in the home videos we see. So then I got to thinking, and with the stuff I've told you already, this not having a tie to the Insidious universe would almost be plagiarism. Also, the man who can't breathe was he collected what he calls his pets. I do remember that, and he does so by essentially pushing living humans to commit suicide. There are more than 2 occasions in Good Boy, and I'm not sure that it doesn't come to fruition, where they definitely kind of mess with you that the character of Todd is about to commit suicide. So I'm just going to throw this out there. Maybe Todd's grandfather was the man who can't breathe in Insidious 3. Appreciate you watching. I know this is it's a fastball, a curveball, whatever the hell you want to call it. But if you've seen Good Boy, go watch Insidious 3. If you haven't seen it, watch Insidious 3 before you view it. Good Boy, that is. And I'm standing on this. If nothing else, it's a pretty wild coincidence if that's not the case. Anyhow, thanks again, guys. I'm Dustin. Appreciate you watching Horror Movie Rewind.